Hey, welcome back to our podcast, your go-to source for all things real estate and lifestyle in the heart of Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Jackson Christian Berry.
And I'm Jean Kristen Berry.
And together, we're here to guide you through the vibrant world of Fort Worth and surrounding suburb living.
We believe in creating a community where everyone feels at home. And that's why we're committed to bringing you honest, expert advice in a fun and friendly way. From the bustling streets of downtown to the serene suburbs, we've got the scoop on what makes each area unique.
Each week, we'll dive into the latest market trends, offer tips for both buyers and sellers, and share insider knowledge to help you make informed decisions. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just curious about some of the Fort Worth charming neighborhoods, you're in the right place. Let's jump into today's episode. Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We are so excited that you've joined us this week. We have our market update today for the month of November. So we're going to get kind of into some weeds here with data.
Definitely weeds.
This is going to lean, if you're an analytical type, today, the first part of this is really going to lean towards your strengths and what you're going to like hearing.
Right.
If you aren't that analytical type, it's okay. Stick with us. We're going to try to do everything we can to really help you understand what these numbers mean for you as a homeowner or a home buyer in the Fort Worth area. And so let's just jump right in, Mom.
Okay.
Talk to us about what's going on.
So let's start off with active listings. So active listings, we had for the month of October, 6,751 active listings. And then for November, so up till today, which is the very end of November, 6,881. So active listings have actually gone up, which, you and I both are kind of surprised by that because
it's a big
typically seasonal, this time of year, it goes down.
Everybody keeps their house. They don't want to move over the Christmas season. They don't want to have moving boxes where they want to have Christmas trees and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a surprise for us. And, we've got some other numbers here that may help solve that problem a little bit, maybe.
Sure. I mean, maybe. It depends on the problem. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the number of solds in October and November, so right, this is where the dramatic kind of decrease has happened that we see.
Yeah.
You went from 1,802 homes sold in the month of October to November, 1,246 homes sold. And we need to take a step back real quick while I'm thinking about this. Just so y'all know, this is kind of the area we pulled for this is kind of our service area. And so we service really, our business is really geared around friends, family, and clients. And so we'll serve anybody who just needs help. That's kind of what we do and how we do it. But if you looked at where we specialize and where we do most of our business, it's really that Tarrant County, Johnson County, west side of Ellis County, and kind of east side of Parker County. And so that's what I pulled for these numbers.
It's a more or less about maybe an hour outside of the main part of DFW.
Yeah, exactly.
The west side.
So anyways, just heads up on that. But jumping in, I mean, that's a dramatic decrease in solds. That is a really... Huge. And we have felt that with our clients for sure. I mean, it's been all of a sudden it's like, whoa, where'd the buyers go and what's going on? It's a softening for sure.
Yeah. And so of course, when that happens, then the days on market start going up. Yeah. And typically it takes more showings before you see an offer coming in the door. Yeah. So it starts to kind of trickle into all these other kind of symptoms.
Yeah, which we've seen. I mean, average days on market up 4 days. I mean, we're at 54 days average days on market in October. Now at 58 days on market in November. So you've seen an increase there. Average sold price, fun fact, did go up, which is, everybody loves to hear that. If you're a homeowner, buyers maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But $413,905 was our average sales price in October. And now in November, we're looking at $433,045 for the sales price. And so that's a nice little increase.
Which is nice this time of year. What the numbers that we really can't track that we don't know for sure is in that 433,000, are there seller concessions that are rolling into that? Because we're seeing more of that now.
Totally. Yep. Yeah. I've had 2 buyers just this last month get the best deal I've seen all year.
Yeah.
For a buyer. Now, for a seller, not so much, right? But for a buyer's side, I've seen them get the best deal they've gotten I've seen all year.
Absolutely. And I've just closed on a new construction.
Yep.
And new construction, oh my gosh, the builders are offering so many incentives. This one had like $28,000 worth of incentives. Yeah. So they bought down the rates.
Yeah, and that's really a hack. Exactly. The hack is, you can put those towards amenities in your home and things like that for sure. Or you can go buy down that rate and get yourself a 2-to-1 buy down. Keep in mind, I always want to make sure make the note with 2-to-1 buy downs. That isn't like your rate is bought down forever. Right. You've got to keep that in mind. Yeah. It does bump back up to whatever the original rate is now. But we've had some good news with rates, especially in November. Oh my gosh, it's been kind of
good news.
We've got really good news. Yeah. 7.32% as the filming this podcast. It is up 0.68 from last year. Okay. Keep that in mind.
That's so minor.
It's
from
so
last
minor,
year, yeah.
and it's down. Like this is huge. 0.5%, 0.56 from last month.
Yeah, because we were up to 8.
That's dramatic. I mean, that's $200, $300, even possibly sometimes more depending on the lender, off of your monthly payment, y'all. Like that's huge.
Yeah, this is finally some good news for our buyers in the market. So the interest rate is starting to soften out and be reasonable, plus the incentives. Plus, that there's still more actives out there.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good time to be buying.
Yeah, and really, if we think about this, right? Because, in your career, you've seen the swings.
Oh,
so you have seen 2008, 2009, which was truly a buyer's market. Just about as extreme a buyer's market as we've seen probably in your career, I would guess. And then you have what we saw in 2021, 2022, which was the flip. It was the extreme seller's market, right?
Yes.
And so really, let's keep in mind here, as we're saying good buyer's market, we are probably referencing 2021, 2022.
Yeah. Which was crazy.
Which was crazy and an anomaly, and probably won't ever see that again. So hope you got that rate if you could. But keep in mind that as we talk about this buyer's market, it's really actually just normalizing. If you are somebody who has only bought in these crazy markets, then you're somebody who really doesn't know what real estate is usually like.
Yeah.
And what we normally see is these kind of a more normalized market, which is where it's a lower, it's a less active, steady market, but it is more closer to balance.
It's not as frenzied because you don't have listings that are sitting for 10 and 12 months, so you don't have that in. And you don't have listings that are going within 1 day.
7 days, yeah.
With 10 offers and 50,000 above.
Right.
So you don't have these real extremes. Instead, you've got a little bit slower. You can kind of think things through. You can figure things out. It's going to take a little bit longer to sell. So you've got some of that going on in some areas.
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
You make the note.
Again,
so this has to be said every time we talk about this.
Every time. It depends on the neighborhood. It depends on the area.
Yeah.
That has to be analyzed separately.
Yeah, it does. Just because there's so much local swing. I mean, just wildly from one side of going so fast, appreciation still crazy, to just no activity whatsoever in the neighborhood. So depends on what's on the market and how you're priced. So we're talking about it's definitely swung to more of a buyer's side. Now, it's probably still even. Keep that in mind. Here's the deal, though. Home sellers, don't worry. Homeowners, don't worry. You've still seen 3.6% appreciation since the beginning of this year. Okay, so keep that in mind. On average, 3.6% appreciation since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so there's still appreciation. Real estate is still a good investment.
Yes, it's softened, right? Yeah. So your home values have softened for sure. That's the best way to. It wasn't so when you put it on the market in 21, 22. It was
we thought 18%.
We put it whatever we want, and we're gonna get it, right?
Yeah, we thought 18% appreciation. Yeah.
But in this market, we're seeing a lot more softening. There's a lot more give on both sides.
Right, and traditionally. Throughout 20, 30 years, what we see is its average is 4%. Yeah. That's an average of 4% appreciation.
So we're pretty close to that. We got another month to go to see how that ends out. But know that your home values are on average saved. It depends on the area. So we want to make sure to make that note.
Right. Hey, everyone. Real quick before we get back to the show, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, we'd love to connect with you. We post a lot of content like this in case you miss an episode, along with more Fort Worth and surrounding suburb local insights and finds. You can find our team at the Christenberry Group on all social platforms, or you can connect with Jackson and I personally on our Facebook and our Instagram accounts. Just be prepared for lots of pictures of my grandson on either account. Now back to the show.
But yeah, I mean, besides that, we've got average sales price is up year over year from 422,330 to 433,045 as it is in November. Month over month, we are looking. That was month over month. Month over month. So October to November. 422,330 up to 433,045. Okay, so that's average sales price. And then if you look at year over year, 413,905 up to basically a 20K increase to $433,045.
So the market, what's cool and very fascinating is the market feels very different, feels so extremely
massively different.
Yet at the same time, we're still making, it's still a good investment.
Both people are winning.
Yeah,
both people winning. Sellers aren't winning as much as they were.
Right.
Buyers are winning more than they were,
Yes.
but sellers are still homes appreciating.
Yeah.
You can still get your home sold for a decent price. Your home values. I'll go as far as to say, just in general across our areas, from what we have seen, your home values have not plummeted.
Yeah.
They have not.
Yeah.
You may have some depreciation in certain neighborhoods for sure,
Right.
but you have not like plummeted. If we're talking about crashing, home values have not crashed. No.
And Texas usually is pretty insulated
Yeah.
from those extreme kind of, crashing and all that, like on the coastlines.
Sure.
So we're pretty insulated from that
Yep.
anyway. So it's a good place, to be having real estate is in Texas. And also we're seeing in luxury. So in the luxury price points, which is like 750,000 and up. So in luxury, we're also seeing good appreciation.
Yeah.
The average sales price was $1,086,000, and then it's 1.3.
Yep.
Moved up to 1.3. So that's a big increase as well. So we're
Yep.
seeing that 292 for the average price per square foot went up to 311.
Great increase.
So that's
Who
a
doesn't
good
want to hear
increase
that?
too.
Yep. Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to hear that?
Yeah, and so many of our sellers when they come to us, they've got so much equity that they've accumulated from owning property through
Sure.
20 and 21,
Yeah.
right? In 22 even. So they've still got a lot of equity to unlock
Sure.
when they want to move.
Yep, absolutely. Besides that, just something to be aware of. Homes, as far as like list price to sold price, not much anything interesting here, but I do want to make a note of it. And last year, November of last year, you were at 99.1% of sales price is what homes were selling for. Now you're at 99.3%. Just keep that in
okay.
mind. And you did have a decrease from last month. So 99.5% in October to 99.3% now in November. So just again, illustrating that slight softening is what's happening. But another big story we've got is number of new listings. That is a pretty dramatic drop. So last month in October, there was 2,836 homes that came on the market that month. November, y'all, we're looking at 2,091. So that is a decrease of just shy of 750. I mean, that is a huge amount of decrease. And if you compare that to what's happened with what we see with active listings going up, with the amount of solds that we saw drop this month, it's it's that softening. Again, it's just softening.
It is. Some of it's seasonal.
Yep.
Some of it can be, the mentality, the confidence level also in the market this time of year. So, yeah, it's a little combination of all of the above.
Yep. Well, what are we seeing with our clients as far as all this goes? So what can people take away from this? That's most of our data that we've got. So if you have more questions, I've got graphs that I can send y'all.
Yeah.
Just let us know. But what do we take?
This is a great graph, by the way, that you put together.
That's good. I'm glad. We'll have to share it.
If y'all need the visual on this, that we've got a good visual. So it shows the graph of all the different changes.
Yeah, you can just let us know. DM us on social media, and we'll be glad to get that to you for sure.
Yeah, it's a good graph. I think what we want to take away from this is, I think our buyers have been a bit depressed.
Totally.
Because of the rates, and they just kept seeing them going up and up and up, and there wasn't any control over that. So I think it's good news for our buyers. We need to say, hey guys, don't give up. It's time to get back on the horse.
Yeah.
If you got off the horse from looking and deciding if you were going to move, the interest rates are softening, and we've got a lot of seller concessions that are coming. So that's really great news.
Yep.
If you get, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 in concessions from a seller versus having to compete in the previous market and pay $50,000 above list, that's a great deal.
It's a huge deal.
So even at a 7.3% interest rate or something like that, because you can always refinance.
Totally.
So that can come down the road. I think this is a big shout out to the buyers for sure.
Yeah, it's a buyer's month.
I think the market's changed the most for the buyers.
So big swing.
That's been the swing.
Yep.
So it's still good for sellers. If you want to talk about that, it's still good for sellers.
Yeah, it's good for sellers. Just like the sellers, you're still getting, record appreciation, 44, 45%, I think, when we looked at it. Just shy of that over the last 2 years of appreciation. So, you have a lot of equity in your homes to unlock should you decide to sell, even if you're selling for $5 or $10K less than you may have in the previous markets. So you're still in a great situation. A lot of people are still trying to compare this to the great financial crisis of 2008, 2009. Such a joke, y'all, such a freaking joke. Make sure you are not listening to those people because they are jokes. What you need to know, the home owner in that time, in 2008, 2009, had so little equity in their home. You use the great analogy of if you could fog a mirror, you got a loan.
Yeah, you could.
So
fog a mirror, they give you $200,000 loan.
And so that has obviously been so shifted through regulations and laws and stuff, which we're very thankful for. Now, when we look at it, the American homeowner, I mean, what is it? I'll have to get these numbers together, but basically 40% of homeowners, I think it's just shy of that actually, own their home outright. So, I mean, just complete equity, right? Off. So no loan. And then 40% of the people who have loans have a interest rate below 3% or below 4%, excuse me. Y'all, that's a great position for the American homeowner. I love hearing economists talk about their comparisons from this market, from the American market to the European markets, because y'all, their fixed rate interest rate varies as the loan goes, right? So they get 3.6 then, but they would have gotten the 7.3 now because it's very. There's a lot less swings for sure than we have, but we have. If you get that 3%, you've got that for 30 years for your 30-year loan that you got, or how much that's left of it. So you're in a great spot as an American homeowner, and you could still get record equity with your home sale. You can also probably, based on the equity in your home, consider things like home equity loans of credit, or refinancing when the rates get a little lower for you to unlock some of that equity. And so you have a lot of options that are really great for you with your asset of a home.
Yeah. And if you've been thinking about a reason to move, and you've got something in mind that you want to accomplish, right? That you really want to do with your move, whether it's change your lifestyle, move to land, move to a lake, move closer to family, smaller house, bigger house, whatever your situation is where you really want to change your lifestyle with the way that you're living. It's still a good time to do that. We really are predicting that probably spring of next year is going to be pretty on fire.
Yeah, it should be.
We're talking to a lot of people who really have plans to do some moving next year. With the interest rates they're softening a little bit. I mean, it's just all good news. So there's a real good chance that we're going to have a real fiery kind of a market next year.
And just the thing I feel like when people hear real estate agents talk positively about the market, they're like, yeah, you're selling us, right? And I really do want to make the note, like if you are a homeowner who can wait until the summer to sell, that's probably the best way to sell for sure. Keep in mind though, every homeowner who sells is also going to become a buyer, right? So think about when you're competing. You have to go then be a part of the bigger crazy market that's coming this summer. If I was going to advise you, I would just say probably shoot for February, March. Try to get in early before it really ramps up so you still get some good extra appreciation that you wouldn't get in January or December. But then also maybe consider doing it earlier than the peak, if you will, because then you're going to miss out. You're not going to have as much competition. So I would just make that note for sellers.
We like this little sweet spot in like towards the mid to the end of February. It's kind of a little sweet spot before spring break, right?
Yeah, it's when literally there's a big spike if you look at the numbers. So, but y'all, that's our market update for the month of November. Anything else before we wrap up?
If you have questions,
let us know.
We've got visuals for you. And we're happy to answer questions.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our podcast this week. We sure do love doing this, and we love keeping you guys updated with what's happening in the real estate market here in Fort Worth and the surrounding areas. So
absolutely. Cool. See you next time.
Thank y'all. Hey, thank you so much for watching the podcast today. If this has been valuable for you at all, we sure could use your help getting the word out to more people. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and give us a follow and consider taking just maybe 2 minutes to leave us a review. Both do wonders for our show with the algorithm, and on both platforms, all you got to do, head over to our show page. On Spotify, hit 3 dots and select rate. And on Apple, all you got to do is just scroll down to the show and say leave a review. So just click that. If you're seeing this on Facebook or Instagram, a like or comment puts all the good vibes out in the algorithm for us. And on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new episode. Join us again next week for more Fort Worth housing news and updates. Until then, y'all have a great week.